shut an egg here? Fucking idiot.
Oh, hello, hello, hello. I was doing some yard work before, just, opening things, pushing stuff around, and of course, filming it all like a normal person does. When I might go through some things that I've talked about very fondly on the channel before maybe, and let you know whether I like them more, the same, or less than when I first reviewed them. Oh, Alan, you've got a prickle. Hey, buddy, let's get you guys something. Well, you find this, Hilda? You find this? You're not a lap dog. Not a lap dog. No. Big chungus, Hilda. Hmm? All right. Off you go. Get down. 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 Good dogs. Stay, sit. Righto, what's this for dogs, hey? You remember when these guys were small? I slightly do. One for Hilda, one for Ellen. There you go. All right, that ought to calm things down a bit. Right. So yeah, basically a revisiting of some EDC knives products, and do I still like them? So, starting off here with this Benchmade 945, and I've gone off this one a fair bit. So the 945 I thought was going to be like a nice mini version of the 940, and I guess it is, but there are some things about it that just kind of annoy me as I continue to use it. So I think the main thing is the thickness of the blade behind the edge is something that I'm having a really hard time to remedy, even with sharpening it a bit higher and all sorts of things. It's just not a cutter, and it's a hard knife to make feel really sharp. And I'm not as bothered about that with the larger 940, but the 945, I think a small knife should really just be a slicey little blade. I still love the look of it, but that's probably the main thing. And also, I just feel like it's hard to sharpen without getting the thumb studs. I need to take them off every time, and that's whether I'm freehanding it or whether I'm using a system or anything. Hello, why don't you go and eat that? Oh, yes. So yeah, that's probably the main two things that are bothering me the most about it. And also, it's quite expensive in Australia. This is about a $350 knife for aluminium S30V. I know there's Benchmade tax, but I think it's a bit, but I think it's definitely warranted that we're all sort of pushing back against that just a little bit. So it's the first one I'll talk about. I've just got pockets full of knives. Next one, here we go. This one's easy, the Spyderco Stretch 2. My goodness. Spyderco Stretch 2, still absolutely my favorite EDC knife. Love it. I would like them to make this in like a Spy 27 or something in the Stretch 2. I think would be great, because I often say it's like the best basic knife you can get, and I think it is in terms of the pattern, but I would prefer, for people who aren't wanting to deal with K390 and its corrosion issues or its tarnishing issues, maybe just something a bit more normal, middle of the road, like an S35 VN-ish steel, and I figure Spy 27 would make a lot of sense. But yeah, I love this more and more every time I use it. One of my favorites. You've eaten yours already, and you're a retriever, so you're just carrying yours around, showing everyone, eh? That's very good, Hilda. Very impressive. Oh yes, very impressive. Very clever. Righto, next up is the... Excuse me, that's a bit... this guy here, I was walking him this morning, and he's walking along, and he picks up like a piece of bark, and I'm just like, oh, what's that? What do you got there, Alan? And he's carrying it, just holding it in his mouth. I'm like, oh, well, it's probably fine, but I better make sure it's not anything too bad. Take it out of his mouth. It's a piece of some other dog's shit. So that's why I'm not really accepting face kisses right now. And that's why you need to get them their shots, for fuck's sake, Alan. All right, the Leatherman Curl gets pretty high rotation for me. I find this is a really nice slim variant of the Wave. I never really used the saw and the serrated blade as much. So this is outer tools being blade and file, which, I'd be lying if I said I use the file more than a couple of times a year as well. But good blade, good set of pliers. I don't mind, as I always say. I feel like I need to go on and on about it, but every time I do a review of Leatherman, I always like to mention that I don't prefer particularly the replaceable cutters. I'm just fine with a one-piece Leatherman head. I do speculate the replacement cutters that put a warranty issue back on the customer rather than on Leatherman. But there you go. It's not too conspiratorial to say that, I'm sure. Look, these tools all, they just hold open with friction, so they're not locking tools, which might be an issue for you, but for a lighter EDC multi-tool, I like the Leatherman Curl about the same as I did when I reviewed it, so good stuff. That's all for that side. What are you digging for there, Alan? Jesus, that's my penis! Go away. Go away. No. No. God, just big head in the video. I mean, he doesn't understand the concept of film, so I can't be too mad at him. Next is the Leatherman Arc. Moving on with the Leathermans. Everything loud happening. Even a plane. No, stop kissing things with your poo mouth. So the Leatherman Arc, I'm liking more and more. I really am. And you know what it is? The further away you get from that time you spent $500 on a Leatherman, more of a distant rose-tinted memory that really is. It's, you know, the money's gone, long gone, but the thing remains. And so I always find that things that are expensive, I am less bothered about the price of them later on, as long as they keep being useful. And this has definitely kept being useful. It's got, I think, the best Leatherman tool set of all the Leatherman tools. It's got the best blade steel out of all Leatherman blades. I like the snappy action. I even just like the black tinged design features of it. I'm sure they'll start doing these in other colors eventually. But yeah, the Arc was a pretty good move, I thought. And I like that they've gone and done proper 3D tools on them. Or at least, I mean, the driver, I suppose, is 2.5 dimensional, but it's the bit exchanger, which I think we all sort of like enough. But yeah, great tool set on this Leatherman, really good quality construction and materials. And yeah, overall, I like it more and more the longer I use it, so good stuff. Next up, the TRM Neutron 2. So the Neutron 2 is still my favorite EDC knife. It edges out the Atom slightly. It's got a, you know, just a nice thin blade. It's just about the perfect everyday carry knife. It's basic, it's not super exciting. This one's just like a micarta and CPM2 CV. And you know, good deep carry pocket clip. There's just nothing wrong with it. It's just, everything is done like 9.5 out of 10. And I really, really enjoy the Neutron 2. You know, yeah, it's not gonna set your world on fire perhaps after like the year or so of use I've had on this one and a couple of years I had on the Atom. But these Neutron and Atom knives really are sort of worthy of the hype they get, I think. So I like it more and more every time I use it. What's next, dogs? What else have I got for you? What have I got for you on? Oh, one of these. Go away. And lastly is the Paramilitary 2. I mean, sort of, I'm talking about Paramilitary 2 in general. I like it the same. I like the Para 3 a lot less, and I like that knife less and less, because every time I use a Para 2, I don't really notice a difference in anything that's for the positive in the Para 3. So the Para 2, Paramilitary 2, yeah, this is the Crew Carter version, Crew Air Micarta. I would say this is the best readily available-ish Paramilitary 2. Great combination of steel. Crew Air, what a great steel. And truly, although not heavily stainless, this one really hasn't marked up on me too badly at all either. So really, really good knife. Oh, just casually sitting behind me, hey? Yeah? Yeah. It's plastic, you can't have that. Yeah, just yeah, great pattern, great knife overall. Nice and sturdy, I guess hard use-ish. Just waiting for the plane to go. Hard use-ish. One thing I do notice with a lot of Paramilitary 2s, I'm not sure if this is everyone's issue, but whether the screws are a bit too short or whatever, they always sort of, the pocket clip ends up needing a bit of rock. The screws sort of end up undoing themselves a little bit more. And I'm really not one who's always constantly changing and mucking around my Paramilitaries, but that's one thing I do generally notice. But I like these about the same as I always have. But compared to the Paramilitary 3, or the Para 3, which I'm generally liking a little bit less and less each time I use one of those and also one of these. So yeah, anyway, just a quick little catch-up film for you. It's been a while since I talked about knives specifically. I hope you've been enjoying my sharpening bent I'm on. Some cool new sharpening stuff to come. And yeah, overall, that'll about do me for this video. I always like to hear other people touch base on gear after a while. I mean, these are really time-tested things by this point. And yeah, most of them I like about the same, apart from that Benchmade at the start there. Oh, fuck off, poo mouth. Hilda, get him. Yes, yes.